welcome to Women in STEM. This is your host, Hero, and we're just also here.
Yeah, we together are one co-host
Correct.
working
Yeah.
for him.
Yes. We're one half of it, and he's the other half. Um,
Don't eat toilet paper.
yeah. For those who don't know, Hero is named such because it's short for Hogan's Heroes, which is a TV show about people who are really good at escaping dangerous situations. And he is constantly trying to get out of situations, and in doing so, sometimes puts himself into different situations.
No, not
um,
situations.
yeah, unfortunately, this little guy is in a lot of situations. Um,
They always
so we could have
ever.
named him Hogan, but we named him Hero because I think that it's cuter.
And also, wasn't there some Shakespeare elements to it as well, or was um that because that was pre-gender reveal, right?
That was pre-gender reveal because when kitties are so tiny, sometimes it's hard to tell. And so then we were like, well, Hero could be really gender neutral because Hero from Shakespeare is a woman. So that's the story.
If I were really into gender norms, which we all know I am, that's like
Right.
a big um oh no, I was gonna make a gender norm joke, but I don't remember the gender norm I was gonna joke about. Oh
No. Oh no. Now people aren't
no.
going to
So
believe we're
embarrassing.
serious about this. I'm going to say,
Oh.
so-called Whitney seems to be really into gender norms, but then she doesn't even know the stereotypes. Ridiculous. Fake
Men
fan.
shouldn't paint their fingernails. I feel strongly about that one. That
Yeah.
actually it tasted awful coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, you're
I
like, I'm gonna
just
be
for the
sick saying
record,
this.
that was a joke. That was a joke. Men, please, if you're not painting your fingernails, go ahead and start doing that. We're begging.
It's you're gonna be fine, or even better. So just try it out. You know?
Hmm.
And it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be for everybody, but how are you gonna know unless you try it out a little bit? That's all I'm saying.
exactly.
Hmm.
I know my brother has personally found that A, he likes doing it because he doesn't like when his fingernails look gross.
Hmm.
And B, because girls are really into it. So he started doing it for one reason, and then the second reason he was like, bonus.
Like,
And then his
hmm.
whole posse of friends started being like, you get a lot of girls really like it? Work? So then they all started going to get manicures together, which I
Oh,
think is based as hell.
yeah, that's cute. Are you really bonding with your boys if you're not going out to get manicures together? That's a real question that should be considered.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That's real.
But you were
Um,
saying, if you were really into gender norms, was there
insert
a then?
gender norm joke here.
Hmm.
That was the problem is because I started off with that statement and I don't remember where it was going to end. It was, ugh, I just don't remember.
Well, um, this week we watched Samurai Rebellion, and I
Oh
did
boy,
think
did
that I
we.
should think of an acronym, and what I thought of was Samurai and Tomi. So then we just need two more. Hee hee hee.
Aw. Um, E and M.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna have to tell you up front. I'm afraid you're gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting tonight.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
because
good thing Hero's here because this
it's
is
not
his channel
working.
anyway.
Yeah, thankfully. I'm
Yeah.
personally gonna be lacking in my co-host duties is all. Um,
I can think of egg, which we did for Napoleon Dynamite, and which doesn't apply to this movie at all because there's like
no,
zero eggs in here.
and my word was enthusiasm, which also doesn't apply on account of uh
The main character is quite stoic.
yeah. Um, what's his wife's name? 'cause M
Uh,
could be, "My wife's a bitch,"
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. And like, if
but
only there was a word for the old ball and chain that started with an E, then that would be perfect.
matrimony?
Matrimony. Hey.
'Cause we've used marriage before.
Yes, and mother.
Mhm.
So there's
Yeah,
really only so many
also.
options. Okay,
Um,
matrimony.
E for ew, because of a 50-year-old man is infatuated with me.
Ew.
Ugh, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's all I've got.
Yes. I mean, I think that can work. Samurai Tomi nu matrimony.
They go to Ebo. Well,
Yeah,
no, they
well,
famously
no, they
don't.
don't. They famously don't make it to Edo, but that could be one too. It's like the dream of Edo. These are kind of the big players of the movie, Samurai Edo and Matrimony, and then also Tomi. It's just kind of there.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But she's the light of everybody's life in this movie. So really,
That's true.
yeah, that's really
Oh
true.
my gosh, I love it when he looks at you like I really feel like we're having a conversation. Can you give him real quick one little tiny kiss on his forehead for me?
Oh, sure. Mwah. That's from Whitney. Oh, he gave you one back.
Thank you. Olivia had seen it already, and then we watched it
Yeah.
together this week. And I really like this is something I appreciate about my co-host is that when she tells me about a movie, she tells me about the movie because sometimes people will be like, "You have to watch this movie," but I can't tell you anything because I don't want to spoil it for you, and I have to be like, "No, you can. I want tell me about the movie," and then like I just don't want to spoil anything. And I like
The thing is, like, sometimes it's
hearing
nice
about
to go
movies.
into a movie not knowing what to expect and just be able to experience a beautiful situation, you know? But if
Mhm.
someone is
Yeah,
recommending a movie to you, you want to know why. Like when I watch a movie, there's like some specific thing that I'm like, oh, Whitney would really like this, and that's why I recommend it. So then why would I not bring that up? Like when I watched
yeah.
this movie for the first time, I didn't know anything about it, and that was really nice for me. But then from here on out, recommending it to people, like you have to kind of tell why it would matter for them. And
You have to
sometimes you
pitch it
can't trust
well.
people's
Yeah,
movie recommendations, you know?
true. Yeah.
Kind of a gamble.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Like
a
poor
good
Trini making the wrong
I was
choice and
literally
watching
just gonna
Seven
say
Brides
that!
instead of Princess
I was
Bride. Yeah.
literally just gonna say that. Like, that person should legally have their movie recommendation license revoked.
I don't think they have one. I think they were operating illegally.
Oh my gosh, that makes me sick to my stomach. What is this country
Yeah.
coming to?
And Trinice got
I
caught in the crossfire. It's terrible.
she's a victim. I also think like I think of something like the Barbie movie for me. That was really fun for me to go into without knowing anything. I hadn't seen any of the trailers. I hadn't watched any of the interviews. I really liked going into that one completely blind because when
Mhm.
it had a lot of surprising depth, that was like a really pleasant surprise for
Yeah.
me. I didn't expect it. Um, and seeing that it had more layers, but it was still campy and fun on its own. But then I
Mhm.
think of something like Bahubali, where it took you like probably a full hour to just explain the basic plot to the point where I felt like I could go into it and be like, yeah, okay, I
I'm
know where I'm at.
following. Yeah.
Yeah, because especially in the first movie is not it doesn't give you're in the shoes of the main character the whole time. And
Mhm.
poor Shivu knows nothing about anything.
No, he knows
He
nothing
is
about it.
as stupid as it comes. I we love him for it, but you don't start to get context until well, like we're talking a full hour and a half into it, and that's
Yeah.
great. Just
It's
it's nice.
basically like 3 hours of exposition is
Yeah,
Bahubali, you know? Yeah.
it's the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, we have talked about it at length, and there's
Yes,
gonna
a couple
be
times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samurai Rebellion. I loved it.
Yay.
This I said this a couple times when we were watching it the other night, but it was beautifully shot.
Mhm, mhm.
It's a stunning, stunning film.
I love, like, this beginning is so perfect, like, the close-up shots of everybody's faces and the sword, like, in and out of focus, and
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. This
really,
is
like,
back when
sets the
film
tone.
used to mean something.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't get over how well this is shot. It's beautiful.
Yeah, isn't it, like, it's so interesting, and there's, like, some scenes later on that kind of because they're in this house with, like, all the doors kind of open on each side, it's very complex.
Mhm.
There's, like, a scene later on that you, like it's partly flashback and partly now, and it just flows into each other, like, so well because they're all shot in this, like if you're on this line, it's the past, and if you're on this line, it's the now, right? It's so
Wow,
interesting.
that's good.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I think that's, like, um for people whose taste is a little more, like, energetic, you don't really love, like, the slow build or a story that's more about, like, the psychology of a character rather than, like, this huge thing. Samurai Rebellion might sound like a misleading title because 'cause you're like, "Oh, it's gonna be a lot of, like, action the whole time?"
Action. Yeah,
But even if it isn't that, you still, I feel like, wouldn't be that disappointed because it is just, like, beautiful to look at. You don't
it
have to
is.
follow what's happening, you can just say, "Wow," you
And
know?
just appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just nice. It's like going out and, like, when you see, like, a waterfall, what is there to say? You're just like, "Wow." You know? Samurai Rebellion is a
yeah.
beautiful waterfall of a 1967 Japanese period film.
And we know that's like, we know that's been said a lot, but
Everybody's saying it, but they don't know what we know.
I do, and I didn't articulate it very well the other night either, but I when a film is shot in black and white, I think it can add a lot of impact to it, but
Mhm,
it has to be done very carefully. And I've been thinking about what I said when we were watching it and trying to articulate it better because I tried to compare it to uh, darkness in movies and how people complain a lot that the dark is too dark and you can't see anything. And it used to be that there was an art to portraying darkness in film while still being able to communicate the story. Like Lord of the Rings, the light is coming from the same place the music is coming from.
mhm,
And I think that being able to film in black and white is similar in that it takes a lot more skill than you think. There's a
mhm.
reason that, like, an a director of photography is there, and, like, you have
Right.
lighting guys, and you have
Yeah,
people to go over and post, like, there's a reason that people make whole careers out of that one job, is
right.
because there is a skill to it, and to see
Yeah.
that skill executed so beautifully in this film was a real treat to see. Because I've seen a couple really good black and white films, um, but it's kind of back when they had no other choice and kind of knew instinctively to work around not having color, but to have it be filmed in the late 60s where they've had color for a while, but
Mhm.
chose to film in black and white. Does that make sense? Did I do a
Yeah.
better job this time?
No, that definitely makes sense. I think it's like,
Okay.
sometimes people who are, like, anti-film snob, think that if you like black and white films, it's because you're pretentious, which is like, maybe so. What now? But there's also like the level of skill involved in making a good black and white film that looks just really beautiful. Like, I think people are allowed to be a little pretentious about that because we've all seen something in black and white that like it isn't impactful. It like could so easily be in color, and it might even be better if it was in color. But I
Mhm.
think this movie really, really thrives on being in black and white. If it was in color, it wouldn't be as impactful.
I think about and I don't know the name of the movie. I know it's based on a comic book. Maybe you'll know the one I'm talking about. You might have sent me the video I watched about it, but
Yeah.
it was filmed entirely on a green screen, and you
So
know the
that they
one.
could
Do you
make
know the movie?
yeah, so that they could make all the backgrounds look like a graphic novel,
Yes, yes,
which is
yes.
so innovative, and it's like
And
the only movie that I've really seen do that effectively. It's incredible.
yeah, and to have it be that's what CGI is for
Right.
because they weren't using it as a crutch. They used it intentionally as a tool,
Yeah.
and they weren't using it to
For like
replace
actual
other forms of art
creativity.
either. Yes, they
Right.
invented a whole new way to film through using that. That's incredible, and it's totally unique. It's beautiful. I um I'd never heard of it, but watching the video that broke it down and dissected it, and going into it, I was like, "This is stupid. Why'd they ever do that?" And then afterwards, I was like, "Yeah, no, there's nothing else. Like, there's no other way they could have done it to make it look that good." And they
Yeah.
also understood the need for like, yeah, black and white. It's all about contrast. You need to have a lot of separation and distinct areas. And Samurai Rebellion does that so beautifully because in a lot of different ways. You've got it in the shades of gray and the darks and the lights, but you also have it physically on the set with the sliding doors.
Mm.
This is something that you pointed out when we were watching it, but a lot of when they are showing a flashback, they make it very clear through the separation of where they are in relation to the doors in the house. Are they beyond the door? In front of it, behind it. You know what time it is based on where they are.
Yeah.
And you did a better job of
It's just
explaining
so
it.
like
Again, I'm not doing
clearly
very well
defined.
tonight.
That's okay.
I'm sleepy.
Yeah. And how can you expect anyone to function when they're eepy? Think about that.
So true.
Hmm. The whole thing, like, even though there's really only like two scenes of violence, which is
Mhm.
unexpected for a samurai movie,
Yeah,
um, it is still very intense. And part of it is just like, yeah, it's visually the intensity of the light and dark, the contrast, which is the benefit of doing things in black and white. And then also just like the intensity of the like emotion of the story. It like you really, really feel it because the way that it looks really aids you in that. You can get totally
yeah,
immersed in this black and white 18th century world, you know?
yeah. And I really like that the action happens almost at the end.
Yeah,
Lot of the movie is the buildup, the suspense, the waiting.
yeah.
You
And you
you
know
described it
something's
as
gonna
it's a
happen.
lot of rising action, rising action, rising action.
And then
A
it
little
ends.
baby resolution at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we still have 15 minutes? What could
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah. I will say that it's not a lot of like, rising action, climax, resolution. It's like rising action, rising action, rising action, rising action, rising action, and then it's over. Yeah, and I think like, critics would say that it's like it moves really slow, like oh the pacing is weird, but I think like everything about it is so intentional. And like this,
Yeah,
if this was like a real life story of a real family, how could they fit it neatly into this like catalyst, rising action, climax? falling action resolution. You know what I mean? That's not how life works a lot of the time. And in this little like vignette of this man's life, of course things are building in intensity the whole time because there are greater and greater cracks in the system throughout his life, right? And then at its peak, you have to end the story there, right? There's no like, what
Yeah,
else is he gonna do?
yeah.
Yeah.
We should do a
Hi.
brief synopsis real quick.
Oh yes, let's do it. Um, the Sasahara family. There's a man and wife who hate each other, and it's no secret.
Literally every soul who knows both of them knows them,
Yeah,
and probably a lot who don't know them.
yeah. They just, I think their reputation maybe precedes them.
Yeah, I think
It
it
was
could be
like,
safe
what
to
was their,
say
what
that
was the name? Sasahara?
everyone in feudal Japan knows
Yeah.
these
The
two
whole
just hate each other.
the entire island nation of Japan is like, yeah, these guys, they're not a good match. It was obviously political. There's no love in that marriage. Everyone knows that. And they have two sons, and one of them is sweet and really, righteous and tries to do the right thing. And the other one we don't see a lot of on screen, but we know that he's a mama's boy and he's willing to lie or corrupt his morality in order to further her ends, right? Well, and that's going to come up later, maybe.
Who
Let's see. There's
knows?
a beautiful 21-year-old girl named Ichi, and she previously had been engaged to someone, and then the master of their clan was like, actually, I've picked you to be my new wife, and she was like, I don't really wanna, but then her fiance's family was like, no, you can take her. And so then, and her
And she's
family
like,
was also like, you can take her. So then she's like, well, I can't trust my family or my fiance's family. Now I have no choice. She goes um, to marry the Lord and she has his baby. And then he um, makes her mad and she hits him in the face. And so then she gets kicked out of the palace because you're not supposed to do that. So now she has this reputation of being like a violent, tempestuous woman. But really, it's like, well, she was wronged, right?
he deserves it. He deserved
Yeah.
getting hit in the face and a lot more.
Yeah,
She
but not
reacted
everybody knows
very
that.
calmly. A lot
She
would,
reacted,
like many would
yeah,
say,
really
very
fairly.
reasonably.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah. But not
that
everybody
doesn't
knows
matter.
that, and especially because, of course, the message is being sent from the palace. Obviously, they're going to put more emphasis on her attacking him rather than him instigating the attack, right? So she gets kicked
Mhm.
out. They contact the Sasahara family like, "Hey, what if she married one of your sons?" And he's
They were
like,
like, "Boo!"
boo,
But
I don't really know about that. I don't, she seems like she's not nice. But they go through with it anyway. And then this lovely young newlywed couple are just so kind to each other. And you're like, oh, maybe she wasn't actually that such a vile, shrew of a woman. Over time, she tells the story to her new husband, and he's like, first of all, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened to you. Secondly, at least you're here now. I like you. And then she's like, yay, from now on I can let go of my past and become a new person through love. And you're like, yay.
yeah,
And then the
and they
power of
are
their
so
love,
sweet. And
they are
real
so
quick
sweet. The
too,
power of their love is
she's such
so
a
strong and beautiful.
genuinely it is, and she's just such a genuinely like kind and sweet person, and clearly so grateful to be out of a shitty situation where because
Yeah.
she was not into the idea of an older creep being like that one I want. She was like,
Hmm.
no, thank you. No,
Yeah.
no, thanks. I'm not into
She
that.
only she went
Fair
along with it
enough.
because she had no choice, not because it was what
Yeah,
she would have chosen otherwise. Yeah.
exactly. And there's a really fun moment where she's just so relieved to be out of the palace that she's doing everything, she's doing the household stuff, and she's taking the criticism from uh the mother
Hmm.
very well. And who is it? Is it her husband or
I think it's the dad
Yeah, okay.
who's like,
Um,
"Yeah, my wife's crazy. Don't worry about her." And she's
and
like,
she's like,
"No, it's
"No,
fine.
she's
Like,
actually
I'm
been
so
really
grateful for the
helpful."
feedback." Yeah, and he's like,
He, like, grabs her by the
"Girl, don't lie to
shoulders.
yourself."
"No, she's not." "Your mom's been really helpful." He's like, "I do not believe you."
"No, no, no, I'm not offended. She's really nice." He's like, "No, she's not." Girl.
That's my favorite line in the movie. Very funny. And her husband at one point is like, I mean, she's pretty rough, but like, my dad's been married to her for 20 years. Can you imagine? If you're ever going through it, just think about him.
Yeah. No, if he could get through it, so can you. Yeah, they're like using him as encouragement of like anybody can get through hard times. When you get low down, just think of everything my dad's had to go through.
He's been 20 years with her. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
She's awful.
So you can do it. Because this is such a hateful marriage. Poor guy.
Yeah, she is a vile woman. She's really
Yeah.
mean.
She's really mean. And it's
Mhm.
like there was a moment when we were watching it, she came on screen and you said, "Oh, I know that she's a girl boss, but at what cost?" Something like that. It was so funny.
She is a girl boss. I know that. I also understand why he maybe doesn't like her.
Yeah. She's pretty harsh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah. Like she's a very powerful, austere woman. She's very intimidating, but not like in a cool way. She's just mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one likes his wife.
Everyone hates this guy's wife. It's crazy to be like, look at all the fuss they've caused. Like, and then their only excuse is like, well, they don't know how to behave. Have you seen that wife? Ooh.
She's awful. He's had to deal with this for so long.
Over 20 years.
They all tell each other, hey, if you think you're going through a hard time right now, think about being
Just think of
henpecked
it
by
so.
that guy's wife. Plural.
It's like a saying, not just like to console Ichi, but actually the whole clan says this. Their whole neighborhood is like, hey, things could be worse.
Plural. I'm gonna say that from now on too.
Mhm. The father has not really had a lot of love in his life. I think he loves his kids, but he just never really has had a chance to connect with them because he's been working like he's a samurai, and he's the best samurai in all of Japan, presumably. So this takes up a lot of his time, right? He can't really bond with his kids, and he definitely can't bond with his wife because she's a meanie.
She's awful.
No, she's not nice at all.
And he sees his son and Ichi being so happy and kind to each other. And then they have a baby girl, and they name her Tomi. And she's got the fullest head of black hair. It's so long and
Just
poofy.
long and poofy. It's really cute.
You can
They
barely
have
ever
like
see her. You just see the
you
tuft of.
mostly see her hair. Her hair is like twice as big as she is. It's so cute.
It's
They have
so
like
cute. Why did I think? I was so convinced that they named her Tomato, and they were just calling her Tomi for short.
like, oh, we were racking our brains thinking of what to name her. We settled on this beautiful English word, actually. The tomiest of all tomies, really. And so anyway, through this experience, the love of this newlywed couple that they have for each other and for their daughter, so Sahara is like, hey, you know what? Now I know what love is. You've made me a better person.
He's like if Boromir and Beam had a baby, and
Yeah.
also the father was Henry from Ever After. Like,
Whoa.
y I finally have a reason for, like,
Yeah.
living and feeling
Yeah.
alive.
And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, fine. That doesn't even matter. Anyway,
It's like
this was supposed to be a brief synopsis, but it's so hard to be brief because it's like we were saying, the intensity of
yeah,
it is so like you get so invested. Like we might as well just watch the whole movie. Might as well just play it, just cut it in here and let you guys watch it, and then, you know,
at this
then
point, we
you'll
should
get
just be
it.
doing that for every movie that we talk about, because
Yeah,
they're
we should just
almost
be.
all of our episodes these days are well over 2 hours.
Yeah, we have time definitely to watch the whole movie. We could
Yeah,
do it
yeah,
like on stream, but we're just like we don't stream it. Like we're not live.
yeah.
We just also have the movie like playing on like Subway servers, just
Like,
playing
we
while
we
we talk.
have, like, a chat, but it's not really a chat, it's just maybe Whitney or Allison text us,
Yeah.
and we respond while we're
Yeah,
doing it,
pretty
but,
much.
like,
Perhaps a
yeah,
Neil
no.
or someone. Oh, wow, that's a really good stretch. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
You're so
Thank
strong.
you. Um, I knew they have their baby, though, the emperor's older heir, the son that he had with another woman before Ichi, he dies. And so now her
Mhm.
son is the only heir.
Oh,
And they're
mama.
like, "Oh, well, we can't have we have to have the mother of the heir back at the palace." They want her back? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember you telling me about this, but, like,
To see it play out,
that's
you're like, what
that's
do
just
you mean?
unbelievable. She just got there.
Right.
So,
Which is like
back.
sick and twisted because they didn't need the mother of the heir when he wasn't like the sole heir, right? They just
Yeah.
had somebody else raising him. But now that he might become the prince, they're like, oh, we need his actual biological mother back, even though like she's been disowned from the family. Like
Mhm.
she's his biological mother, but they don't really know each other, you know? So it's like this weird situation. They have to go back to the Sasahara family and be like, hey, we're gonna take Ichi back. And they're like, no, I don't think so. No matter what anyone says, I
Oh.
will not send you back. Bare minimum king.
She's not a doll.
Drama ensues, right? There's so many like council discussions of people like, what do you think we should do about Ichi? What
And
do
the
you think we should do?
extended family.
The extended family comes in. You know, it's a big deal when the extended family comes in because they don't get along because there isn't any love in this family prior to
Everyone
Ichi
hates
joining them.
each other. Yeah. And it's so
Yeah.
funny too because, like, I don't know why, but I just kept imagining the whole movie as an "Am I the asshole?" Reddit post. Just like, can you imagine the comments on that thread?
You
There's
know.
so much detail to it. Yeah, it is so funny because they did not want her in the first place, but now that they
Hmm.
have her and know her as a person and not just like a thing,
Yeah.
they're like,
And not
what the
just her
hell?
reputation as like a violent person. Like they've met her and realized that she's actually really peaceful. She just was in a bad situation and 19. So what would you
And
have
she's
done? You know?
19. She was 19.
She was 19. She had the baby, so now she's like 2021 on her second marriage, third engagement. Like she's gone through it. You can't really blame her
She's
for being violent
lit.
one time.
And she didn't even have ibuprofen, and she literally should have been at the club.
That's so true.
Yeah.
You're so mad at her for bearing an heir to the wrong guy, but did you ever consider that you could have sent her to the club?
She could have been there for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how like hearing one half of a story might give you the wrong impression of who somebody is.
Yeah. Weird,
Yeah.
especially if one person is, like, in a position of power.
Right.
Hmm.
Hmm. Weird.
Interesting. No,
Feudal
it
Japan.
is
That was their fatal mistake. They didn't have enough nightclubs. Or book clubs, maybe. I don't really know.
also true. Yeah.
He just needs a
Um,
club, like a social group of peers that aren't trying to
people are
like,
really into pickleball.
yeah, pickleball's
Yeah,
big. Yeah.
yeah. Um, you know what else is big? My love for, Daddy Sasahara. Granddaddy, I guess. I love him.
Yay. He's
He
so character. What's funny is that these like samurai haircuts, like later in the movie, he's gonna have a full head of hair because he retired and he doesn't have to shave the top of it anymore.
oh, thank goodness.
So he's old, but he looked younger in the second half of the movie.
I was gonna say, like, I don't wanna be disrespectful at all. I know there's a lot of cultural significance to the haircut.
Yeah.
It just looks kind of silly.
Yeah. That's probably why the samurai are no longer this big thing. They're outdated and mostly it's because of the haircut.
Yeah. He does. He looks about 50 years younger.
Yeah, doesn't he just he's so youthful now.
He's such a dilf.
Yeah. It's as soon as the hair grows back, you're like, oh,
Oh, and you don't like your
yeah.
wife, you say? Hmm.
How do you feel about a younger woman?
I'm happy to be a stepmother to your two sons older than me.
Yeah.
See, no offense to Ichi, but I wouldn't have any problem if that particular 50-year-old man were infatuated with me. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, he's so noble. You can see on his face, you know? Like, look at this.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can't make a bad decision.
Yeah.
He really is, like, capital G good, though.
Yeah. He has a real sense of like, yeah, each must live his own life.
I felt more
This
alive
is
than I
what I'm
do
gonna do.
now.
Oh
Finally
God.
standing up for something I believe in. Shut up. I love you. He's like, "Are you married or are you married?"
Exactly.
My life has not been worth a damn thing until now.
Yeah. And you're not gonna throw it away. He's like, you know that phrase like it's better to love and lose than to never love at all? Not true. If you love each other, don't lose, idiot.
He's literally, yeah, so character.
Yes, like
He's
unbelievably so.
he's like you said, he's a very stoic individual.
Mhm.
And he's just kind of not emotionless, passionless, I guess, is a better word.
Mhm.
Because you can see he's just kind of like going through the motions, and just kind of
Yeah.
empty for the first
He's very
part
duty
of the movie.
driven.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he doesn't
like
have that
no
like
love in his
personal
life, no
connection. Yeah.
purpose. Exactly. Yeah. And then after he retires as a samurai and he gets to grow his hair out, and he doesn't. And I said this when we were watching it
He
too. I
scales
don't want to
up
be disrespectful at all.
1,000 hotness
But
points.
so many, so many. I did not recognize him when he came back on screen. I was like, okay, now who's that guy?
Mhm.
Oh, that's oh no,
Yeah.
what? All right. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
not only does he have long hair, which automatically is like a huge bonus, but also suddenly he's a huge family man and
Mhm.
he's utterly devoted to tiny little baby girl who he loves so
Yeah.
much. And he
He's
holds her
really
more than just
cute.
about anybody else in the movie. He's constantly like big, burly, like, I'm so angry right now, but in a very like calm way. in a way that he could still definitely 100% kill you, but then he's also just he's holding a little bundle of black hair
Yeah,
that's just kinda sticking out, so he's, like, so gentle with baby.
yeah. It makes him almost,
Oh,
like, even
wow,
more intimidating because 'cause you're like, not only is this
he's
a very
scarier.
powerful, noble man, but he has serious motive. That's his grandchild. When you look at when you see Isaburo in the background and he's standing, like, he has the fierce warrior stance and he's also holding this baby, it's like, "Dude, I'd rather die than piss that guy off." Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
real.
he'd kill me and keep the baby asleep, you know? Like, you have no
That is
chance.
so true. He's holding her firm so she doesn't jostle, but also not squishing her,
Mhm.
and
He's
killing
like
15
Shivagami in
men
the
at
royal
once.
court. Like, he's gonna one-hand it.
Exactly. He's got
Yeah.
a knife hidden under there. Yeah.
Mhm. Like,
And her name is
I don't
Tomi.
think I don't think I would dare get between any grandpa and their granddaughter. Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm.
A
No.
recipe for disaster.
Yeah. No, it's not
Nobody would do that. That's crazy.
a good sign. Especially if said grandpa was the best samurai in the country.
Yeah. And the country that's known for samurai, that's their thing.
Yeah, this isn't an American samurai.
No, no, no.
Or
We're giving you land.
It's free.
We're giving you a house.
It's real estate. Free.
It's a free house for you, Jim.
This is free real estate.
oh no.
Oh, I'm back, you're
There you
back,
are.
and we're back.
We're back.
Okay. Phew.
And we're back.
Yeah. It
We should
was like
edit in a commercial
I
break in
literally
between.
was just about to say that. It's like that was like our commercial break. Oh my goodness.
We spend
Welcome
so
back
much time together.
after the adverts, as British people say.
Oh, those silly Brits.
Yeah. You can just make the word shorter. Say ads. Like it's funny to have the word advertisement 4 syllables and you shorten it but only to two.
Only
Adverts.
half.
Like
Yeah.
you can make it easy breezy 1 syllable, 3 letters.
And then
Ad.
it's funny to have sprinkles, but not to call them sprinkles, instead to call them hundreds and thousands.
Hundreds and thousands, which sounds like a chewy fruity candy.
Yeah, it does.
Like
Like
it
Nerds
sounds
gummy
like
clusters.
right, or like Mike and Ike's or something. Like that's what it sounds like it should be, but then it's just sprinkles. Say that.
It's sprinkles.
They have such weird names.
I looked it up once. Sprinkles came first too. They rebranded it to hundreds and
Right.
thousands.
Which I guess is like, yeah, because there's so many of them that can fit in the bottle because they're so small, but you literally sprinkle them onto your dessert. So they're sprinkles. Hello? Can
Stupid
you
idiots.
imagine living in a world that you couldn't have Ranabo sprinkles? You would have to have Ranabo
Oh,
hundreds and thousands.
don't stop it.
Ugh,
Stop.
that's so bad.
This isn't really related, but I told a joke at work today because I have to send out a daily email to part of our press team,
Mhm.
and it's just I just send an attachment, but sometimes I get bored of just sending an attachment. So today I was like, I'll just include a little joke. And the joke was this: what's a frog's favorite drink? Do you have any guesses?
Orange soda.
I understand why you would think that. It's actually Coca-Cola.
That's cute.
Thank you. I thought so. Um, everyone hated it so much.
No.
The people that I sent it to, one of them sent back, "Did your dad give you this joke? This sounds like something he would say." Um, but it still made me smile. That's what he
Little
said
does
is
he know
it
that
still
that's
made me smile.
so funny. Little does he know that that's a huge compliment, actually.
Genuinely, I'm like, wow. But I said it to my desk mate Wyatt, and he was like, "Oh my gosh." And then our the other staff assistant came down from upstairs and was like, how are things going down here?" I was like, "Here's a joke," and she said, "Oh my gosh," and she didn't even say goodbye. She just walked back upstairs. So if I ever need to get rid of people, I'm figuring out how to do it. It's through
Yeah.
dumb jokes that seem to make them genuinely angry.
They're just mad they can't be you.
That's
It's
exactly what I
envy. Yeah.
said. Like, I, I'll give you all free tickets for when I go on tour. When I get my stand-up comedy Netflix special.
Which will
I'll
happen
remember you guys.
because everyone has to have one.
Yeah,
It's a
we're just
bylaw.
working through
Yeah.
every citizen in the country,
Yeah.
starting with the
It's gonna,
unfunny ones, apparently.
right. It's gonna take a while, but eventually every red-blooded American will have their own Netflix comedy special. That's just a fact.
Damn right.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't like that. It's spicy. Anyway, there's one scene where Granddaddy Sasahara um walks out of the house in their courtyard to talk to Ichi, and she's standing on the walkways holding Tomi, and he's walking not on the walkways.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, and his sandals leave footprints in the sand where he's walking from. Oh my gosh, the footprints! Shut up.
Yeah. Which could mean nothing.
My mind is spinning. When was this made?
1967.
I can't believe they perfected filmmaking in 1967. It's incredible.
Can't believe cinema was invented in 1967.
Yeah, invented in 1967, perfected in 1998 when The Prince of Egypt was released.
Yeah.
Uh, if I were more on top of the game, I could have made the two sets of footprints in the sand joke there. I didn't,
Yeah.
but
That's okay.
you can all imagine.
Yeah.
And that shot, like, I have been thinking about it nonstop because this is right at the precipice of when he's beginning to really question his devotion to the lord of their clan, where he's really starting to get fed up with the system and realize where his true passion lies and the devotion that he has to his daughter-in-law, to his son, to his granddaughter, not to his wife, because she's mean. But he
But
suddenly
you should
has a
have
spark of
like,
real, true love in his life, and he
right.
is like, "Oh, that's what this is about. That's what
Yeah.
this should be about." And
Like you
just
should have loyalty to
suddenly,
people who care about you, not just
yeah,
people who that you're useful to them.
yes. And I love that symbolism that he, for once, the first time in his life, is not doing the expected thing, the dutiful thing necessarily, but going off script a little bit, and finally making a real impact instead of just slicing straw dummies in half. Like, yeah, they've
Right.
been at
Testing
peace for so
equipment.
long.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I thought it was really meaningful for on her part as well. Like she's never, and I'm gonna try to talk my way to this point, I think.
Okay.
But she's
Go for it.
not been able to make a real impact in her own life ever. She has been thrust from one point to another without any choice, without any say in the matter at all. And she has made an impact on the people around her, on her husband, on her father-in-law, on her baby. It's just very interesting that I just think it shows her maybe her sense of powerlessness and
Mhm.
that she
She's
hasn't been able
still
to take
walking
steps on
on the
her own.
path, and
Yeah.
he's now taking his first steps off of the path.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's literally like 2 seconds where he like turns to walk away and you see his little footprints
It's
and then it
really brief.
moves on. But it's
I have not been able to
so
stop
like
thinking about it.
I know, it's
Yeah.
so moving.
Yeah. And like, you know, how intentional that was. I don't know if that was exactly the meaning that they were trying to portray through that, but that isn't a choice that's made on accident.
Right,
That was
like, it
something that
wasn't
they
just like he
chose to do.
accidentally stepped on the wrong place on the set and they were like, "Well, we'll keep it. We'll fix it
Yeah,
in post, whatever." Like, yeah, it's an obvious direction to be like, "Step off of this. Go this way."
yeah,
Yeah. And whatever their intention was, I do think it is really beautiful that you could have like 2 seconds that you see it on screen and it really impacts you and you're able to articulate, "Oh, this is what that moment means to me," right? And a really
mhm,
effective movie obviously is going to have a point. Like everyone's telling
yeah,
their story and they have whatever reason for doing that, but a really great movie will also have an interpretation that's maybe
yeah,
different from the original point. Like if they're not spelling it out for you, you should be open to think freely about what you think it means and what it means to you.
yes, yeah,
And I think
totally,
yeah, they do that really, really well.
yeah. I I do love knowing the point of the creators, because then I can pick and choose if it's something that I want to accept.
Right.
Like, sometimes I
Like,
think
well, they
that's
may have
yeah,
been
no, that's a
trying
really
to
good
do
point.
this, but hmm, I'm electing to ignore it.
Exactly. There's a very delicate balance that I think everybody should strike between death of the author and authorial intent. I think both
Mhm.
can be very impactful and very meaningful, but I also think that it just becomes a new thing altogether when you consume it. So,
Mm, very true. And I think people are too caught up in that being a dichotomy, like you have to be true to the author's intention or you have to completely erase the identity of the author in order to enjoy something. It's like, well, you no, like you can do a mix of two things. You can do a secret third thing. It doesn't matter. The
yeah.
world is your oyster. Like, go
The
for
world
it.
is your
If
oyster.
the
The
point
world
of
is
like
what's that one tweet? The world is
engaging
your
in
deluxe
media
Lego set.
the point of
Yeah.
engaging in media that you didn't make is to enjoy it and interpret it for yourself. Like, why are we making movies that we don't want anyone to watch because they might think about it? He was trying to
It
catch
looks like he's
something.
wearing a Shakespeare collar.
Yeah, he is, for his namesake. He's named after a powerful woman. Anyone can be inspired by a woman. You can't, you shouldn't
I
just
don't know
only
about
have
that.
female role models if you're a girl. You can have female role models if you're a boy, and you can have male role models if you're a girl. But don't tell
Oh,
anybody I said that too loud.
okay. I won't. Like, okay, look, this is the gender norms channel.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, maybe let's not spread misinformation like that.
Yeah, we should call it men in STEM. Women in the kitchen.
Fight
Ugh,
scene is it's so sick. They
it's
spend a
really
lot of
good.
time building it up, so I was like, is it gonna live up to my imagination of it? Like, is Grandpa Sasahara gonna like
Hmm.
kill a super lot of people?
Hmm.
And he does. I want him to chop them all up into teeny tiny little pieces.
Well, you'll have to see what happens. There's only like 20 minutes left of the movie.
Enough for one good fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah, he has 10 guys on him and he's still like not outnumbered.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's that thing from oh, what is it from? Oh my gosh. Iroh. He's like,
Hmm.
"You're clearly outnumbered." And then Iroh's like, "Maybe, but you are clearly outmatched." And then they kill all of
Hmm.
them.
Hmm. He has like one hair out of place. And you can
Yeah.
tell he's gonna go sicko mode because of that.
He has looked totally like perfect this entire time.
Yeah. Just pure serenity, no matter what's going on. But now,
Hmm.
with the one hair,
That one hair out of place. and everybody is suddenly hearing Meet the Grams.
Yeah.
Whoa! What does this mean?
He's about to play Not Like Us 5 times in a row at a concert in LA.
And
And he does it like
it's good.
almost effortlessly, and he skewers a man onto a door.
Oh
So
my
think about that.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I said this too when we were watching it. I totally understand Ichi and why she did not want to marry the emperor. I,
Hmm.
however, that particular 50-year-old man,
Hmm.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying, I happen to be single. He sent his wife away. We could probably have made something work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
it's a
okay.
it's so sick, dude. It's so
It's
sick.
so good.
And
I
that
have
scene where he
to
skewers someone on the
say,
door is like,
oh,
oh, go ahead.
no, no, no. Talk about the door skewering. That's great.
Just yeah, the again, the contrast and seeing the way the swords play in action, they just it's directed so beautifully, and the action is very deliberate, very well choreographed, where everything is deliberate and it looks good. It looks so good. I can follow it very well, like the action. It's not Marvel shots where it's too quick.
Oh my gosh, and like so much shaky cam that you're like, the only thing that I know is happening in this scene is that I'm getting nauseated.
Yeah,
Too much shaky cam can honestly ruin a movie for me, but this movie is so still and so
very
intentional that
steady.
even when they're fighting, you're like, I know exactly what's happening. And it doesn't draw you out of the movie. Like, I feel like, if anything, too much like back and forth, too many cuts, too much shaky cam takes me out of the movie because I don't know what's going on. But in this movie
Yeah.
where everything is so intentional, even though obviously things are happening pretty quick, this guy's like slicing people in two with a katana like it's no big deal.
Hmm.
I'm following it.
Yeah. It's almost it keeps you centered as well. It feels like you're in the room watching, holding your breath, trying not to
Mhm.
move.
Much like the
Like,
nanny.
yes. That poor woman.
um, I was gonna say that I don't remember what the Japanese title is, like what a direct translation would be, but it has something to do like it mentions, is it accept the bride? It's something like that. Because if you call it Samurai Rebellion, then people who are fans of samurai movies, mainly young, thoughtless men, will go to the theater. And the director specifically wanted, like, the main character is a man, but the main driving force of the story is a woman. So he's like, I really want women to not feel like they can't watch this movie or like they won't relate to it just because it's about samurai. Like I want this to be something that anyone could
Based.
relate to. So he specifically named the title like it's something that had the word bride or the word woman like in it, so that women would go and see themselves represented. And that's pretty nice.
Sick. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then like I think it's a really great because it has this like really intense two pretty intense battles at the end. So if you're
Yeah.
going into it expecting a samurai movie, you still get that. Like you don't have to leave unsatisfied. Like they just talked
But
the
you
whole
have to be
time.
patient. If
But
you
you
leave
have to be
early, you don't get
patient.
the reward.
Yes, because the
Like a
whole
samurai.
first 3 quarters of the movie, it's about the woman. Hmm. Like so it
Yeah.
is about this like the psychological workings of all of these characters and this man's shift from morality, like what is moral is not what the clan says, but what is like best for my family. And
Yeah.
he has to really wrestle with that and make that shift. So it's really
Not
engaging your mind and it's not just an action movie. And listen, we
yeah,
like action movies,
we do.
but the purpose of this movie
Absolutely.
was very different than that. So
Yeah.
I think
I also want
that's
to
worth
specify
noting.
too. I think our connection is off. I feel like I keep cutting you off, and I'm so sorry. I don't
That's
mean
okay.
to. we should be used to this by now, but I also want to
I
make it very
know.
clear that he's doing it from the question of, like you said, what would be best for my family, not what would be best for my family reputation or how would my family look
Mhm.
best. Genuinely, what would be the best for my family's quality of life. He doesn't care about the Sasahara name necessarily over if it means losing or harming one member of the family, namely
Right.
Ichi.
He's like
He's not gonna do
my
that.
reputation, like in the eyes of the clan, doesn't matter as much as like how I'm actually treating people. And he
Yeah,
values Ichi as a person and not just as like a commodity, right? And I think maybe he can relate to that because he's been working as a samurai forever, putting his life on the line, and then you know what I mean?
property of the Lord.
He's been
Oh my
property of the
gosh.
Lord, and now he retires, he gets a new lease on life, and he sees here's a young woman who's not in my situation, but she kind of is. We're the same.
So true.
So think about that. Hmm.
I will.
Okay. Don't
If
not
there's
too
one thing
hard
you don't
though.
have to worry about with me, I'll be thinking about movie any given
Yeah,
moment.
that's a promise from
And a
real
threat.
doctors that you can trust. We're gonna be thinking about movie.
Amen. Yeah, it's so good. I also love the so he's Granddaddy Sasahara, he's got a friend who's also samurai in the clan, and his main job is to watch the borders. When Granddaddy Sasahara has to go to Edo with Tomi, there's just a really heartbreaking confrontation where they're friends and suddenly there's this conflict of his friend has this duty. He's so loyal to his role and to the lord of their clan, and he says that he can't let them leave, and it's heartbreaking because you admire him to a point. He's very similar to Katapa, where he cannot go back on his word. He is loyal to any end. You know, there's nothing that he will not do in order to live up to the duties, in his role. And it's contrasted with a man who no longer necessarily has to live up to those duties and instead has a new goal in life, which is to make known this deep and cruel injustice that his family has faced and to keep his baby granddaughter safe. Again, there's a little bit of build up before the fight scene kind of gets going, and even then the fight scene between those two is it's not explosive necessarily with like the choreography or anything like that, but the emotions that just make the whole situation feel so potent. It's 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 a heartbreaking scene. It's really sad. um and that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful point. Like the whole movie, he's been coming head to head with this idea of like loyalty and like where his loyalty really lies. And now he like quite literally is coming head to head with the idea of loyalty, where his friend has
Yeah,
to be like, am I loyal to my friend or am I loyal to the greater cause?
yeah.
And he even says, they have this conversation before their duel where he's like, Sethar, listen to me, like, you gotta let me win.
It'll be
It's the
better
only
for
way,
everybody.
like,
It'll be better for
it's better for
Tomi.
everybody. Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's like, we'll see. And then,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, he 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 doesn't let the friend win. He still wins. And at the end of the duel, he comes and kneels down and says, I knew there was no chance that I would win this. And it's like, what do you mean? It's crazy.
So, and before they start the fight, too, Granddaddy lays Tomi down and is like getting her comfy and cozy in her blankie, and he says, "Listen, if I don't come back, he will be your godfather. He'll take care of you, and he will love you." And like, you're going to fight this man to the death, but even
Yeah.
still, like, he loves him so much and he trusts him. He knows
I mean, it's like,
even if he kills him,
yeah, that he's still the right guy. It's genuinely. I know that you just said this guy is Katapa coded, but like
but
Bahubali and
he's
Devasena
so
saying, "You are the godfather of our child" to
yeah.
Katapa, like it's literally the same situation.
Except for he gets killed instead.
Yeah, it's Bahubali alternate ending. There's this guy on YouTube. He's like a, I don't know if he's like a professional chef, but that's like the main thing of his YouTube channel is like making these really elaborate dishes and whatever. But he also makes like gourmet cat treats, and he has the most well-trained cats I've ever seen. They have little like chairs at the table, and they'll just come and sit at the table.
Oh my
And
god.
he's making their little gourmet cat treats, and then he gives them samples, and they'll eat them and just wait. Like they just have their little chairs that they sit in and wait for their food.
That's so cute.
And
Oh
he'll
my
ride his
god.
bike into town and they sit in the basket all calm. So I'm like, obviously it's possible to train a cat. People just think that it's not, and so they don't, and then they have a bad behaving cat and blame
Yeah.
it on all cats, but it's like the call's coming from inside the house, perhaps. And I don't say that lightly.
Good timing. Yeah. I do have to go.
Okay, me too.
And
So
it's
we'll
not just because
say,
Leo is holding a gun against my back.
yeah,
Yet.
although he quite is. Final thoughts about Samurai Rebellion. Everyone should watch it. When you have
Yeah,
time to just
everyone should.
watch something really thoughtful and interesting, visually beautiful, but also the story is really interesting. It's only 2 hours. Go ahead and watch it.
Pretty
Do it.
good.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
pretty.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. It's lovely. Um, I guess we should. It doesn't have a happy ending. We didn't really mention that, but
Oh,
it's
true.
still.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the ending that you I think would hope that it does, but it does end
Mhm.
with Granddaddy Sasahara saying to Tomi,
I
"Grow
want you
up
to
to
grow up
be
and be just like your
like
parents.
your mother."
Uh,
Yeah,
It's
and
so
that is
sweet.
just about the sweetest thing. You cannot possibly ask for a better baby blessing than I hope you grow up to be like your mother, and I hope you marry a man like your father.
Yeah.
Like you had
Like,
two of the most perfect people ever
yeah.
involved in making you.
And even if nobody knows who they were or what their story was, what matters is that you become like them. Like, that's enough. Ugh, shut up. Yeah, I
Even
think
if
it's a
their story doesn't
really,
get told,
right.
if she
And it's a
grows up to be
really
anything like her parents.
inevitable ending, right? It's not the one that you want, but it's the one that just kind of has to happen.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of
It
hope
literally is like
in Tommy's future.
Bahubali in real life, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe he doesn't get to maybe Tommy doesn't get to come back 20 years from now and kill the evil lord by
Yeah, and avenge
throwing
her
his
father
body
and
up a
mother.
building, and then she throws and they throw each other boom 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 up a building.
Until
Maybe
they
that
just
doesn't
go into
happen.
space. Yeah.
Like in Tom and
Maybe that's
Jerry.
not maybe that's not gonna happen. But she can still have a hopeful future.
Yeah,
And that's nice.
that's sweet.
Just a beautiful
Um,
story about the sickest grandpa in the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
He says
Cool.
thank you.
Well, I'll let you get going.
Okay. Thank you for calling. I enjoy these.
Me too.
Yay.
Yay, it'd suck if it was a burden and we both are just like,
Yeah.
oh, gotta do my weekly call. Like right before I let you into the Zoom room that you're still in the waiting room, I'm like,
Take a
admit. It's my customer service face.
you drink half a bottle of vodka, take a hit from a cigarette, and then log on to the call, and then we're ready.
Yeah, I'm like, you know the one. Ben
I
Affleck
do.
smoking on the balcony meme, yeah.
Yeah, I was also thinking, what's his name? Hannibal,
Oh,
with a cigarette and the whiskey in one hand. Is
true.
beautiful. Yeah. Um, yeah, very funny. Uh, it is kind of nice that we've been doing this for so long and we still haven't got burnt out from it.
Yeah.
Good job, us.
Yay!
Yeah. Um,
Yay!
okay, it will not let me play it with my camera on.
Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm. So you'll just have to give really powerful vocal commentary instead of the facial
Okay,
reactions.
I'll channel Chris Pratt. I'll give the
Okay.
vocal performance of a lifetime.
Okay.
Unbelievable. Oh my, wait, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wait, okay, that's sick. That's, oh my gosh. Um, 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 whoa. No, my gosh. No, there is no alternative. Yes.